everyone, welcome to Truth is One. I'm David, and today I am excited to announce our new Veterans Program Coordinator, Tyler Swetnam. Tyler was in the military for over 12 years, active with the Airborne Infantry. He was deployed in Afghanistan and finished his military career as an instructor in Ranger School, the United States Army. So Tyler is a very dear friend of mine, an ally to Truth is One, and we're excited to have him join us to be of service to vets. So Tyler, welcome and thank you.
Thank you. It's very good to be here. I'm very excited. It's an honor to be a part of this.
Well, we're very excited to have you, and I'm excited today for you to share a little bit about your story, your heart, your mind, where you've been, what you've been through, and what led you to this place, what we hope to offer so many vets that need it. So, yeah, if you could start there, just tell us a little bit about why you chose to go into the military in the first place, and a little bit of your history.
Yeah, definitely. So I grew up in Missouri, in a rural area. I grew up on 5 acres, small farm. Spent a lot of time in nature. Really loved getting away from the noise at a very young age. I didn't like the noise of the city. I didn't like being around big groups of people. I preferred walking through the woods and chasing animals, looking for bugs, etc. So my high school years were pretty standard, I would say. But upon graduating high school, I enrolled in an emergency response academy where I spent 3 years. We specialized in disaster relief, search and recovery, diving, firefighting, structural collapse, high angle rescue, etc. And throughout this program, what it really gave me was showed me the love that I had for community and the camaraderie that I shared with the guys to the left and right of me. So anyway, we finished out that 3 years, went on several national deployments, just doing flood relief, disaster relief stuff. And upon completing that, I decided the next best thing I could do, the greatest way that I could be of service, was to join the military. So I enlisted in the Army, active component, and began my journey.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit too about your military experience, because I know for a lot of people out there, they have the heart of the servant or the heart of a warrior. They want to protect their country, and they have a lot of ideas about what it might be like to go into the military. But what was it like when you found yourself there, and especially after 12 years of time?
There's a lot of unguided passion, a passion to do something good, a passion to find my place in life. And in joining the military, you are in so many ways forfeiting your life. So there's so many pieces to that, but in my mind at the time, the greatest act of service for a man was to die for his country. And so there are definitely expectations prior to joining, but of what the military experience is going to be like. You can ask any military veteran, they will tell you that it was nothing like what they anticipated. The expectations were not met in so many ways, but what they do find is the camaraderie. And above all else, the camaraderie was the glue that held us all together and kept us going through thick and thin.
Yeah, thank you for that. You shared a little bit with me about your time in the military and kind of how your perceptions changed over the course of time, how your physical and mental health began to shift and change over the course of time. So tell me a little bit about when it was for you that you realized, oh, I may actually need some additional help here. Yeah, if you could speak to that.
Yeah. So, you join into something and you're surrounded by a bunch of people who are on the same path, and you live together, you work together, you sweat together, you do all these things together, and you drink together. And for me, in my experience, we did a lot of drinking early on, and this started drawing out a lot of deep-rooted stuff, drew it all to the surface, and then because it was not guided, it was all very destructive. So that experience initially really started numbing me to life and the ability to feel anything at all. And then these things were just compounded over and over again as I started watching buddies of mine take their lives, overdose, or just fall into deep self-destructive patterns, and having to step away from them, being like, brother, like, come back, but also not wanting to get pulled into it yourself and not really knowing how to be there for somebody like that. The experiences vary greatly, but overall, the experience through the military caused me to close up more and more and more, and really just became completely unfeeling towards anything, and completely operating from the mind all the time. That just became a way of life.
Yeah, so it sounds like you were able to have some camaraderie, like very close kinship with those that you were in the military with. But a lot of that was based around alcohol and drinking, a common numbing factor, if you will. We were talking just before we started the session about some of the studies that are out now, some of the statistics that are out there readily available. One of those, which with a new study you brought up, calls into question, but we've all heard this, that up to 22 veterans are committing suicide in any given day. And now it sounds like that could, in fact, be way off. So can you talk a little bit about what veterans are facing, what some of the statistics are, and that sort of thing?
So the statistics it's very hard to know. When we're talking about things like alcohol abuse and substance abuse, the numbers, what's being reported is nothing close to what is actually going on. And any military vet will tell you, we are trained we know that being honest about these things does not help our career in any way, shape, or form. And so you become very accustomed to, oh no, on a given night out, I drink 3 beers, which is still, to a lot of people, that's a lot. To us, that was almost unheard of, that you would only have 3. So you have that factor of the alcohol abuse, and then the substance abuse, extremely underreported because nobody wants to admit to breaking laws. So the statistics on that are always off. The statistics revolving around suicide is also not completely correct, because in the past they have not been accounting for the deaths that involved alcohol and substance abuse, whether that be overdosing or whether that be drinking so much that you do lose your temper, and one way or the other, the alcohol was a contributing factor in the death. And if it hadn't been for the depression and the suffering, the things that were driving a person to drink that much, they wouldn't have lost their life. But yeah, in this recent study through Duke University and the University of Alabama, they took 8 states, and within those 8 states, they collected statistics and surveyed, and what they reported was the numbers that the VA was reporting was almost 2.5 times less than what was actually being reported. So the numbers of suicides per day for veterans may be up to 44. So yeah, again, we don't completely know, but we do know that it's underreported.
It's too many, no matter what. Yeah, thank you. So, can you speak a little bit too about, you were just recently retired within the last year. Kind of speak to your experience and what other veterans may be experiencing as they're coming into retirement out of the military.
Well, you have the ground ripped out from under you. You separate from the family that you've been a part of for the most critical parts of your life, and to step away from that and leave that, I would say, this is just, I guess, my opinions have it the worst in this, because there's another level of intensity within the combat MOS, and it makes it very difficult to integrate back into regular society and be around civilians and people who, from many veteran standpoints, haven't experienced any suffering. And there's just a lot of judgments that come from veterans who see the people that they've, were serving to protect, with no regard, no appreciation, and it calls into question what the veteran was out there trying to do. Like, why didn't this work? Did I actually do anything good with my life? These sort of questions. And then being away from your brothers and sisters and out of that camaraderie, not being able to fit into society, you're faced with this severe separation that drives you into isolation, and this is usually when a person starts to really spiral.
And I wanted to give you a moment too, because you're a man who went into that place of spiraling, and you were able to find your way into a place of healing. And I want you to kind of tell us a little bit about your experience with plant medicine and what that has given you, and how it has helped you along the way.
Yeah, so the numbing factor with alcohol was definitely a big part of my life for a long time, and it helped me mask a lot of the pains from my brother's death when he took his life, and then as brothers that I served with, as they did the same, having to take all of that in, the pain of all that, all the emotion, take it in and bury it, because there was nothing else that I knew to do with it besides get this out of here, get it out of the way, and suppress it so I don't have to look at it and I don't have to face it. So what plant medicine did for me, and I had no idea that it was medicine. I won't even speak on what it is, it's irrelevant. But my experience with it was, I was alone on a beach actually, and it started ripping me apart, and not in a painful way, in a very, very gentle way. It started ripping apart these pieces that were holding a lot of the suppressed emotions in, and brought so much to the surface for me, and it was like this internal voice was also guiding me through and showing me, explaining everything that I had been dealing with, and guided me through it. And from that experience, I walked away a very different person, and it was a permanent thing. I mean, there's no magic pill, there's nothing like that, but this was a permanent shift in my consciousness and the way I perceived the world around me. So it was really profound for me, and from that moment on, I was extremely excited to pursue this study deeper, and to eventually, be able to share this with my brothers and sisters who've experienced these same pains, these same struggles, to be free from it, because it's so amazing.
Yeah, with that, if was one thing that you could offer to veterans that may be watching this right now, one message that you could give them, what would it be?
If the mind of a man is not at peace, he is not free. There is nothing more valuable in life than peace within the mind, and to fully feel all of life in its intensity, and to be able to embody that and hold that. There is nothing more powerful than this. And so what I'd say for so many that are still trying to figure it out, still trying to find their way, there are many ways, but this method, this path is medicine, and there's no getting around it. If you sit with this medicine, it will change you, it will transform you, it will unearth these things that have been deeply buried within you, so you can face it, and so you can fully embody it and then let it go. The liberation in this is nothing that words can describe. It has to be experienced. So for every individual to step up and face this and go through the process themselves to learn how to heal themselves. It is for nobody else but you. It is you. Your responsibility is here. So yeah, that's my message to anybody who's at all interested, or anybody who's struggling, is this is a way, and it is very, very effective, beyond anything else that I've ever found.
It's a powerful message. Thank you so much for that, Tyler. Thank you for your words and your wisdom. And I'm greatly looking forward to serving as many vets as we possibly can. We're actually scheduled to have our first veterans only ceremony coming up in December of this year. So we are taking applications for that. There will be many other ways that we will open offerings and programs directly to vets to help assist in the healing that is so needed in the country. So thank you so much, Tyler, for your service, for your brotherhood, for your friendship, and for being such a strong ally for so many men in need. And if there are any vets out there watching this and you find yourself curious, interested, or in a place of needing support, please don't hesitate to reach out. We are here for you. Tyler can be reached at tyler@truthisone.net, and I can be reached at david@truthisone.net. And we welcome communication with open arms and look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much for listening.